Two masters of reality manipulation. Two techniques that rewrite the rules of existence. One question. When a domain expansion meets the warp, which reality wins? Ryomen Sukuna, the king of curses. Ancient demons sealed inside a human host for centuries until consumption of 20 fingers restored his monstrous power. Cursed energy manipulation refined to an art form. His domain expansion, Malevolent Shrine, doesn't just trap opponents, it dissects them. Cleave and dismantle techniques slice through anything with surgical precision based on cursed energy and toughness. Within his domain, escape is impossible. Survival is a joke. He's arrogant because he's earned it. 4 arms, 2 mouths. Absolute mastery over cursed techniques that make modern sorcerers look like children playing with matches. The Chaos Sorcerer stands opposite, once human. Once loyal to the Imperium. Now something else entirely. Millennia of studying the warp twisted his form and shattered his sanity. Reality bends to his will through pacts with the dark gods. Tzeentch's blessing grants him knowledge of 10,000 spells, each capable of unmaking matter, bending time, or summoning horrors from the immaterium. His psychic power doesn't follow rules, it breaks them. Warp fire burns souls. Transmutation turns enemies to screaming chaos spawn. And here, in the warp itself, his power is amplified 1,000-fold. This is his domain, his element, his advantage. The warp stretches endlessly around them. Reality doesn't exist here, not in any sane sense. Geometry contradicts itself. Time flows backward and sideways simultaneously. Colors that don't exist in real space paint the non-sky. Yet demon faces form in the psychic currents, watching, hungry. This dimension is thought made manifest, emotion given form, madness crystallized into being. Sukuna grins with both mouths. Interesting. A realm of cursed energy so concentrated it's become physical. You've brought me to the perfect killing ground. The sorcerer laughs, a sound like breaking glass and screaming children. Fool, you stand in the sea of souls. Your techniques are crude manipulation of spiritual energy. I am spiritual energy. I am the warp-given voice. Subscribe for more epic crossover battles. We're settling every debate with action. Let's see who wins. The sorcerer strikes first. His staff, topped with a screaming demon skull, erupts with pink and blue warp fire. The flames don't burn physical matter. They burn souls. They burn concepts. Or they burn the idea of resistance. Sukuna doesn't dodge. 4 arms snap up in a gesture. Dismantle. The warp fire splits, divided, dissected along invisible lines. The technique that cuts through cursed energy treats psychic fire like any other phenomenon. It works. The flames disperse, but the sorcerer is already chanting. Words that predate human language spill from mutated lips. The warp responds. Reality fractures, space folds. Sukuna's position in 3-dimensional existence becomes negotiable. He appears 20 meters left, then above, then behind himself. Spatial coherence collapses. Cleave. The technique adjusts for toughness and cuts accordingly. But what's the toughness of warped space itself? Sukuna's slash cuts through the dimensional distortion. Reality snaps back. He lands on solid, relatively solid, warp ground. You'll need better tricks than undergraduate teleportation, Sukuna says. The sorcerer's eyes, all 7 of them now, mutations blooming across his face, narrow. Then witness true power. Doombolt. Lightning that isn't lightning screams from his outstretched claw. It's condensed warp energy shaped into annihilation. It hits like an orbital strike concentrated into a spear. Sukuna crosses 4 arms. Takes the hit. The impact craters the ground. Or what passes for ground in this realm? Smoke rises from his flesh. Actual damage. First blood. Both mouths smile wider. Finally, someone who can make me bleed. Sukuna flexes. The burns on his arms crack and heal. Cursed energy floods his body, regenerating damage at speeds that would make lesser sorcerers weep. He launches forward, not running, flowing. Four arms blur. Dismantle, dismantle, dismantle. Invisible slashes fill the air, hundreds of them, each one calibrated to cut. The Chaos Sorcerer throws up a psychic barrier, shimmering warp energy forming a shield. The slashes hit, cut, penetrate partially. The barrier holds but fractures spiderweb across its surface. The sorcerer snarls and gestures. The ground beneath Sukuna erupts. Not earth. Warp stuff. It grabs like hands, pulls like quicksand, screams like the damned because it is the damned. Tortured souls compressed into matter. Sukuna's lower arms grab the reaching tendrils. His upper arms continue the assault. Cleave! This one's bigger, stronger. The slash cuts through the grasping warp matter and continues toward the sorcerer. The Chaos Worshipper teleports, actual teleportation through the immaterium, appearing 50 meters distant. But Sukuna anticipated, already turned, already slashing. You move through the warp, predictable. The cleave catches the sorcerer mid-materialization, cuts across his chest. Armor, baroque, and covered in blasphemous runes, splits. Blood that's half ichor sprays. The sorcerer staggers. Impossible! His voice echoes with demon choir backing. I am beyond flesh, beyond mortality. You bleed, you die. Simple math. Sukuna closes distance, fast, inhumanly fast even by warp standards. The sorcerer's staff erupts again. This time, it's not fire. It's change itself. Transmutation magic, Zench's specialty. A matter rebels against its own nature. The technique tries to rewrite Sukuna at a molecular level. Turn him into something else. Something that screams. Cursed energy explodes outward from Sukuna's body. A shield of pure malevolent power. The transmutation splashes against it, fails to penetrate. His cursed energy is too dense, too concentrated, too fundamentally him to be rewritten by external force. Nice try. Upper right fist impacts the sorcerer's jaw. Lower left follows into his ribs. The sound is like thunder, like breaking mountains. The sorcerer flies backward, crashes through a pillar of crystallized screams, rolls, comes up bloodied but laughing. You fight well for a primitive cursed spirit, but you don't understand where you are. The warp is alive, and it obeys me. He slams his staff down. The entire realm responds, and the warp itself rises. Tidal waves of psychic energy crash toward Sukuna from all directions. Demon faces form in the waves, gibbering, howling, hungry. Sukuna stands still, watches the reality tsunami approach. Both mouths speak simultaneously. Domain expansion, Malevolent Shrine. Reality inverts. A Buddhist shrine materializes. Demonic, wrong. Its architecture defies sanity as thoroughly as the warp does, but in a different way. This isn't chaos. This is order. Malevolent, absolute, inescapable order. The shrine's influence spreads. 200 meters in all directions, and within that space, Sukuna's technique becomes absolute. Guaranteed hits. Unavoidable. Undodgeable. The rules change. His rules. The warp wave hits the domain's boundary and stops. The two realities collide. Warp chaos versus cursed energy dominion. For a moment, neither advances. Then the slashing begins. Inside Malevolent Shrine, everything is cut. Automatically, constantly. Dismantle for inanimate objects. Cleave for living things. The technique doesn't aim, doesn't miss, simply executes. The Chaos Sorcerer screams as invisible blades slash him. Once, twice, 50 times, 100. His mutations writhe, trying to heal. His warp-enhanced body fights the damage. But the cuts keep coming, guaranteed, absolute. Enough! The sorcerer's body erupts with warp energy, raw, uncontrolled. The power of the immaterium channeled without filter or restraint. It's killing him to do it, burning his mortal shell. But it pushes back against the domain. The shrine flickers. The warp pushes. Two absolute realities grinding against each other. Sukuna frowns. You're burning your own soul to resist. Impressive. Stupid, but impressive. The domain holds. Barely. Cracks spiderweb across the shrine's structure as the warp hammers against it. The sorcerer is bleeding from everywhere, cuts layering over cuts, but he's channeling enough raw chaos to keep himself alive. His body morphs, grows tentacles that are immediately severed, sprouts eyes that are instantly sliced. His form becomes fluid, constantly regenerating, constantly mutilated. You cannot maintain this forever, cursed spirit. The sorcerer's voice is ragged, pain-racked, but defiant. Domains require concentration, and I am endless. Sukuna's grin doesn't waver. Let's test that theory. He raises all 4 arms. The shrine's power intensifies. The slashes come faster, deeper. The technique adjusts, Cleave reading the sorcerer's toughness and compensating, finding weak points, exploiting gaps in regeneration. Aided, the Chaos Worshipper screams words in the dark tongue, a summoning, a desperate play. The warp tears open behind him. A demon prince claws through, massive, bat-winged, wreathed in pink fire. Tzeentch's servant, greater demon, reality cancer given horrible life. It lunges at Sukuna. Dismantle. The demon prince splits vertically. Both halves dissolve into warp stuff and scatter, destroyed in one slash. Sukuna didn't even look at it. Summoning help, pathetic. The sorcerer laughs through blood-filled lungs. That wasn't help. That was a distraction. During the split second Sukuna executed the demon, the sorcerer finished his real spell. A temporal hex. Not affecting space, affecting time. Within the domain, time fractures. Sukuna experiences the last 3 seconds simultaneously forwards, backwards, and sideways. His technique continues, autonomous, perfect, but his consciousness stutters. Disorientation. Just for a moment. The sorcerer doesn't waste it. He teleports inside Sukuna's guard. Point-blank range. Staff glowing with condensed annihilation. Warp fire holocaust! The explosion would vaporize a city block. At this range, against Sukuna's body directly, it should unmake him completely. Should. Sukuna's cursed energy erupts. His aura becomes visible, black and red, seething with malice. The warp fire crashes against it. The 2 powers collide. Cancel. Explode outward. The domain shatters. The Malevolent Shrine collapses under the strain. Both fighters are blown backward by the backlash. They crash into warp ground 50 meters apart. Smoke rises from both, damaged, bleeding, but alive. Sukuna stands first. Burns cover his chest. One arm hangs wrong, dislocated. He pops it back into place casually, spits blood. You destroyed my domain, I'll admit it. You're strong. The sorcerer rises slower. Half his face is missing, cut away by the final moments of the domain before it collapsed. It's regenerating but slowly. His power is depleted. And you survived point-blank annihilation. Remarkable for a mere curse. Mere curse? Sukuna's cursed energy flares again, higher, denser. I am the king of curses, and you just pissed me off. His form blurs. Speed that breaks comprehension. 4 arms become a storm of strikes, each one backed by cursed energy that could shatter buildings. The sorcerer blocks with warp shields. Each impact cracks them. He teleports. Sukuna follows, appears at the destination first, fist already in motion. It catches the sorcerer in the sternum. Ribs crack. He flies backward, crashes, rolls. Sukuna doesn't let up, appears above him, all 4 fists descending. The sorcerer raises his staff. Metamorphosis. His body liquefies, becomes pure warp energy. The punches pass through. He reforms behind Sukuna. Staff thrust forward. Demon Skull's mouth opens. Screams a name that shouldn't be spoken. Sukuna's head snaps around. Impossible angle. Lower left hand catches the staff. Stops it. Cute trick. Do it again. His upper right hand thrusts forward. Palm strike. Cursed energy concentrated into a point. It hits the sorcerer's chest. Doesn't just impact. Invades. Cursed energy floods into the Chaos Worshipper's body like poison. The sorcerer's eyes widen. He can feel it. Foreign energy in his system. Fighting his warp essence. corrupting his corruption. What? What is this? Cursed energy. My cursed energy, specifically. And it doesn't play nice with others. The sorcerer screams. His body convulses. Warp power and cursed energy war inside him, tearing him apart from within. The sorcerer's body erupts, not exploding, rejecting. His warp-mutated form can't contain two conflicting reality-warping energies. Tentacles burst from his back and immediately wither. Eyes open across his skin and weep blood. His mutations cannibalize themselves. He staggers backward, raises trembling hands. You've poisoned the warp within me. Poisoned? No. Sukuna walks forward slowly, deliberately. I'm just showing your precious chaos what real malevolence looks like. The sorcerer snarls. Desperate, he drives his staff into the warp ground. Then I'll purge you with the source itself. Gods of chaos, hear me! The sky, if it can be called that, splits. Four presences turn their attention to this speck of conflict. Korn, Nurgle, Tzeentch, Slaanesh. The ruinous powers themselves take notice. Power floods the sorcerer. Unholy, overwhelming. His body swells with demonic strength. The cursed energy inside him is burned away by sheer divine corruption. Burned away along with most of his remaining humanity. He grows, 10 feet, 15, 20, becoming something between mortal and demon prince. His voice becomes legion. Now you face the wrath of the gods themselves. Warp energy radiates from him in waves, each one reality-breaking. The ground beneath them dissolves into screaming faces. The air ignites with impossible colors. Sukuna stops walking, looks up at the transformed monstrosity. Both mouths smile. Finally, you stopped holding back. Forearms spread wide. Cursed energy explodes outward. Black and crimson. It doesn't just emanate, it dominates. The warp recoils from it. Not because cursed energy is stronger, because it's foreign, antithetical, or wrong in a way even chaos recognizes. Domain expansion. No! The transformed sorcerer fires everything. Every spell, every technique, warp fire, lightning, transmutation, temporal disruption, reality shredding, all at once. A bombardment that could kill Primarchs. Malevolent Shrine. The domain snaps into existence, faster this time, stronger. The Buddhist temple materializes with absolute authority. And this time, Sukuna isn't conserving energy. This time, he's committed. The bombardment hits the domain's barrier. Every spell, every hex, crashes against the boundary like ocean against cliff, and fails to penetrate. Inside the shrine, the slashing begins again, but intensified. The dismantle and cleave techniques rain down like judgment. The empowered sorcerer's new form is tougher, blessed by dark gods, so the slashes adjust, are cut deeper, faster, more precisely. His demon flesh resists, regenerates, but it can't keep up. Each cut removes more than the last healed. Mathematics of attrition, and in a domain expansion, the math always favors Sukuna. Impossible! The sorcerer thrashes, fires spells wildly. The gods themselves empower me. I am beyond your mortal techniques. Your gods aren't here. Sukuna's voice cuts through the chaos, cold, absolute. Your gods gave you power and left. But I'm right here, and in my domain, I am God. The slashing intensifies. The sorcerer's massive form shrinks as pieces are carved away. His blessings burn out trying to regenerate. His connection to the warp frays under the domain's absolute reality. He tries one final spell, the most forbidden, personal transmutation, when he'll turn himself into pure warp energy, become one with the immaterium itself, anything to escape this death trap. The spell activates. His body begins dissolving. Cleave. The slash doesn't hit his body. It hits his soul. The technique that adjusts for toughness reads his spiritual form and cuts accordingly. Severs the connection between consciousness and warp energy mid-transformation. The sorcerer's form snaps back to physicality. Incomplete. Broken. He collapses to his knees, The godly power drains away. He's just a mutated mortal again, dying. Sukuna stands over him, domain still active, still cutting, but slower now, letting the defeated opponent feel each slash. Any last words before I erase you completely? The sorcerer laughs, wet, painful, blood bubbling from multiple wounds. You won't survive this realm. The warp, I will consume you. The warp tried. The warp failed. Sukuna raises one hand, fingers positioned for the final technique. Just like you. Dismantle. The final slash is precise, surgical. It separates the sorcerer's head from his shoulders, then continues. Dissects the body completely, reduces it to constituent parts, then those parts to smaller parts, until nothing remains but dispersing warp energy. The domain collapses. Sukuna releases it. The Malevolent Shrine fades. He stands alone in the warp, victorious. The warp churns around Sukuna, hungry, aware. The chaos. Sorcerer's death released a pulse of energy that drew attention. Demon eyes open in the psychic currents. Predators sensing prey. Sukuna cracks his neck. All four arms flex. Come on then, I've got time. A lesser demon materializes. Pink flesh. Too many limbs. Zinchian corruption made manifest. It lunges. Sukuna doesn't use a technique, just punches it. 4 rapid strikes. The demon explodes into warp stuff and dissipates. More come. Dozens. Hundreds. The warp vomits forth horrors. Dismantle. Cleave. Dismantle. He cuts through them like paper, each technique perfectly calibrated, each slash ending existence. The demons keep coming. He keeps killing. It's not even a fight. It's extermination. After the 50th demon dissolves, the rest hesitate. Even warp entities recognize overwhelming force. They retreat into the immaterium's depths, watching, waiting, not attacking. Sukuna grins. Smart. He walks through the warp like he owns it. Because right now, in this moment, he might as well. The king of curses, wandering the sea of souls, and nothing dares challenge him. Eventually, he'll find a way back to real space. Or he'll carve one himself. Details. So who won? Sukuna. Decisively, the chaos. Sorcerer brought godly power, reality-warping sorcery, and home field advantage. He fought in the warp itself, his element, with blessings from all 4 chaos gods. And he still lost. Why? Domain expansion is fundamentally different from warp sorcery. Chaos manipulates reality by channeling the immaterium's power. Chaotic, unpredictable, powerful but unstable. Domain expansion doesn't manipulate reality, it replaces it. Within the domain's barrier, Sukuna's rules become absolute law. His techniques are guaranteed. Not very likely to hit. Guaranteed. That's not probability manipulation, that's deterministic certainty. The sorcerer's mistake was thinking more power would overcome better technique. He channeled the chaos gods themselves, and it wasn't enough because raw power can't defeat absolute authority within a contained space. Add Sukuna's combat intelligence, 4 arms giving him tactical advantages in melee, and his regeneration matching warp-blessed healing, and the sorcerer never had a real chance. He just had the illusion of one. Could things have gone differently? Maybe if the sorcerer never let Sukuna establish his domain the second time. Maybe if he'd stayed at range and bombarded from safety. Maybe if he'd called demon princes instead of trying to match Sukuna in close quarters. But maybe doesn't matter in death matches. Sukuna's curse techniques proved superior to chaos sorcery because they're more refined, more precise. 10,000 years of warp knowledge couldn't compete with perfect mastery of a single ability set. The king of curses earned his title again. In a realm of literal chaos, he imposed order. Malevolent order. Absolute order. The kind that cuts everything in its radius without exception or mercy. Domain expansion met the warp. And the warp blinked first.